Living organisms have lots of instructions to tell them how to make all the different proteins that they're made of. And sometimes these instructions aren't copied properly. These are called mutations. You could look on them as being mistakes in the copying of the instructions. Nothing decides how they're going to change, it's just completely random. So one organism changes one instruction, a different one would change a different instruction. And sometimes these are good, sometimes they're bad, and sometimes they make no difference at all. You might be asked to give an example of a neutral mutation, and an easy one there is earlobes. They come in two types, attached or unattached. Your ears work just fine no matter which one you've got. It makes absolutely no difference to your life. They just look slightly different. If on the other hand you're asked for an example of a mutation which causes a disadvantage, then an obvious one is sickle cell hemoglobin, or sickle cell anemia. And what happens there is, instead of the red blood cells being circular, the way they're supposed to be and be able to flow past each other, the red blood cells are kind of like a crescent shape. They don't flow properly, the capillaries get blocked up, the blood can't get past it, and any cells that are beyond that don't get oxygen and those cells die. Picking a mutation that's an advantage is a bit more tricky, because you are the way you are because of millions of years of advantageous mutations being selected in favour of. So the way you are is full of advantages. But an easy one for humans would obviously be we tend to walk on two legs. And that means that the other two are available for picking things up and using tools. And this has allowed us to, well, in the olden days, a long time ago, it allowed us to hunt more effectively. And then we could develop farming and invent more and more things and have more complicated machinery, which we wouldn't have been able to do if we'd been using all four limbs to walk on the way most other animals do. So that's an advantage for us, and we have been able to make very good use of that over the last few million years. For evolution to work, there has to be variation between different members of a species. And the only source we have for variation is mutations, random changes in genes, which can either be passed on or not, depending on whether they're an advantage or they're a disadvantage. If they're an advantage, they get passed on. Those individuals have more offspring. Those offspring carry the good version of the gene. If the change is a disadvantage, then sometimes you'll be dead before you're old enough to reproduce. Even if you're not, you may not be able to produce as many offspring, and those offspring might not survive as well, so those genes will die out in the population and won't be passed on.